Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Reset to Healthier Relationships, Sunday nights at 9. I am the course creator, Glenda, Coach Glenda, here with our course manager, Mr. Rufus Carpenter. We have created this format as a safe place to discuss trials, struggles, and victories in past and present relationships. This is not a one-size-fits-all open discussion. There is no topic too minor or major that we cannot discuss. We encourage everyone to participate and speak their truth. This is a non-judgmental zone, so talk as much or as little as you like. Now, you guys, the past 3 weeks, oh my gosh, they have been truly amazing. It was part 1, part 2, and part 3. I really enjoyed myself the last 3 weeks, and the participation was just totally awesome. If you missed it, please go to YouTube and check us out. Mr. Carpenter, he has been doing a great job at getting our topics and all of the informations together for us for Sunday nights at 9. And it has truly been a blessing. I never want to go without saying as often as I possibly can, as often as I possibly can, how great of a job that he's doing. So, Mr. Carpenter, hands down to you as always, because you do awesome work. You do a lot of research, and I want you to know that it does not go unnoticed. So before we get into tonight's topic, I would like to hand it off to my course manager to introduce himself and get the ball rolling for us tonight.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Night at 9. Hey, W.R. Dorsey. Hey, iPhone 4. Hi, Annette. Hi, Ava. Hi, Francis. Hey, who else we got on the line? Let's say, hey, Dr. Johnson. Hey, Gigi. Glad to see everybody here tonight. I am Rufus Carpenter. Like she said, I am the course manager as well as coach here at Reset to Healthier Relationship. I have a ball with this. My background is a little different than most. I come to this space by 3 different ways. One is I was from a poor family out of Virginia with 14 kids and 2 adults, 18 people in a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. And if you know anything about sleeping with 4 of your siblings in one bed and you have occasional bedwetter, you know what I'm talking about, the essence of human connection. So, hey, I was married 27 years to the same lady. We had a lovely marriage. And if you know anything about marriage, you learn a thing up to about connection. You learn something about compromise. You learn trust. You learn communication. And you do learn how to get along. And with that, those things are things necessary for the successful marriage, but these are the things necessary for a deeper understanding of the human connection. My story didn't stop there. I was a military person. I was joined the United States Army 20 years. And one of the jobs I had in there was what's called an equal opportunity race relation leader. Well, I had the responsibility to be the first person on the scene. If we had any type of race or relationship issues in the unit, I would go in and do the initial intake. And what that entails is I would investigate the situation, and I'd decide what level of management or what resources we had to allocate to getting that thing fixed. So my background in human relations and relationship is very, very diverse. And plus, I'm here to represent the male perspective tonight on this subject because I already know what the topic's all about. Glenda, on you, girl.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, our topic for tonight is breadcrumbing. Now, this is the first time I've ever heard of this heard of this word used in a relationship. So it kind of blew my mind that, as seasoned as Mr. Carpenter is, he would know breadcrumbing versus me, because I feel like I'm a little bit younger than he is. But tonight's topic is breadcrumbing, breaking free from manipulative relationship tactics. Now, I know that I have been in one good manipulative relationship, and when I was delivered from it, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I learned so much. So I know how to pick up on the signs of someone trying to manipulate me into doing something that I wouldn't normally do, or to try to get something out of me just by, just by their words and their actions and behaviors. So now, do anybody have any questions so far about the topic? Have anybody ever heard of the phrase breadcrumbing? Don't speak all at once. So I'm the only one that never heard of breadcrumbing? Oh my
No,
God.
I never heard of it. I was surprised by the topic too. I'm like breadcrumbing.
I was
So
too. I was like,
I'm interested in hearing what this is all about.
I know, right? Okay. So let's see. Now it says definition and common tactics used in breadcrumbing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read the definition to give us a head start before we dive a little bit deeper into the discussion. Breadcrumbing is a manipulative behavior where someone gives you just enough attention to keep you interested, but not enough to develop a meaningful relationship. It's a way of leading someone on without committing. Now, that is the definition. Now, can you think of another word that we may use today or in today's, 2024, other than breadcrumbing to fit this description?
Gaslighting. Somebody said gaslighting too.
Yes.
That's what they said, gaslighting. Younger ladies be gaslighting. Yep.
Really? I never heard of that one either.
Well,
Yep.
gaslighting is a little different. Gaslighting is a tad bit different.
Oh,
So
go ahead,
let's
school us.
continue to search for the breadcrumbing. Gaslighting is just a little bit different. Okay, let's think about it again a little bit. Breadcrumbing. Okay, I know you guys are used to hearing breadcrumbing when you put it for the bird and the bird follow the breadcrumbs into your house or follow the breadcrumbs into the trap. It's pretty much the same exact thing in a relationship. In relationships, and Linda, you want me to take this part, or you want to?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Glad to see you. Hey, Mila. Glad to see you. Hey, Fire Tablet. Hey, Felicia. Glad to see you there. Andre, welcome aboard tonight. Gaslighting, and somebody said gaslighting. Gaslighting is when you have doubt. When someone's, there's doubt versus reality. Some gaslighting, someone feeds you a lot of stuff to get you to doubt yourself a little bit. That's what gaslighting more is. And I know you heard the term ghosting. Ghosting is when the person disappears. Those two terms aren't breadcrumbing. Breadcrumbing is when someone comes in and they play with your mind and emotion, and they get you to feel like they're really interested in you, and you get excited about hearing from them, and you said, oh man, this is something's really nice, and they manipulate you to think that they're for you when really they're not. They're stringing you along just enough so they can have control over you, and then they really don't want you full time, or they're trying to string you along for their own ego, or they're trying to string you along until something else better comes around, or they want to have you in the stable. Now, the person that's doing the breadcrumbs can be either male or female. Right. It can be either or. You can be played by either one of those. Now, this topic is kind of near and dear to me because, unbeknownst to me, I have used some of these tactics myself, and I didn't realize it was breadcrumbing. I thought I was just being smart. I was saying, hey, I'm not really sure, but just in case that I'm sure that I can do this, when I realize now that I was doing a disservice to myself as well as to the person. But now I've figured out, tell a person, let them know what's going on so they can go into it with their eyes open. A lot of times ladies told me, said, hey, look, Rufus, if you just want to hook up, or if you just want to do this or that or whatever, just tell me, and I can make a decision if I want to hook up or do whatever. Just let me know so I can make that decision myself with my eyes wide open. Don't take the choice from me. Any ladies, let's talk about that. When I say it like that, does it make sense? Have any of you been in a situation like that where a person have made a decision for you and you thought one thing only to be confused down the road and was something different?
Or isn't that most relationships in the beginning?
Well, it could be. It could be. That's a good way to look at it. Most relationships, and I thought that same thing you did, Felicia, because I thought when I tell a person, hey, look, let's see where this goes, I wasn't trying to string them on. I was just trying to make sure I understood what was happening. Because you can see one thing in a person. Remember those 5 stages of romance or relationship according to dating we had? Where the first
5 love languages?
No. 5 levels, the 5
Oh,
stages,
okay, level.
the 5 stages of romance, or the 5 stages of dating, or 5 stages of human connection. Where
Okay.
first you meet them, and it's called, some people call it the honeymoon stage. Some people call it the love stage. When they can't do no wrong, you always want to be in their face. You always want them in their face. You always want to be close to them. You're clinging because you can never see enough of them. That's the first stage. Then the next stage in a relationship, when they start being around you a little while, and you start noticing certain things, and they start not being as loving or as nice, or they start having rough edges that you don't like, or they rub you the wrong way. And that's the second stage. Some people call that the norming stage. Some people call that the storming stage. And that's the second stage, where then you might say, well, I don't think I love them or like them as much as I thought. And then you start spacing a little distance from them. And that's natural. And that's natural. That's supposed to happen, because that's how you that's the runway to how you kind of weed them out and make a decision of what's a keeper and what's not a keeper. And that's where I got confused at, because I thought I was doing that where sometimes I was stringing people out a little longer than that, because I thought, hey, I couldn't make a decision, or I really didn't want to commit to a decision. But that part, I was guilty of breadcrumbing myself.
Oh,
Because I was holding on longer than I should when I knew it wasn't going anywhere.
right.
And have you ever done that innocently? Have you ever done that innocently? Anyone? Let's talk. This is a subject we need to talk about, because there's no right or wrongs here. Remember, our format is, and the framework of this Sunday night at 9 is that you and 20 of your girlfriends are sitting in one of your living room, and somebody might have a glass of wine, and you're talking and you're sharing your truth. And you're saying, girl, I had that happen to me once before, and here's what I thought, or here's what I did. So let's share, ladies. Let's talk to me. Somebody talk to me about that.
Mm.
Where you at, Annette? Annette, give me your thoughts, Annette. You normally have some words of wisdom for me.
I don't think Annette want to talk to you tonight, sir.
This breadcrumb is kind of hard. All right, let's continue to march. We're going to talk about breadcrumbing in 4 different parts. The first part of this conversation is going to be understanding what breadcrumbing is. And Glenda gave you a very good definition of what breadcrumbing was, and that's going to be the first part. The second part of this is we're going to say identifying breadcrumbing behavior, and that's going to be the second part of the conversation. The third part of the conversation is going to be manipulative motives. Why do the person do this? Why is the person breadcrumbing you? And then the next one is going to be identifying the breadcrumbing behavior. And then we're going to round it out with the psychological impact of breadcrumbing on his victim. So the first leg of this journey is identifying common tactics in breadcrumbing. And breadcrumbing, like Glenda said, is manipulative action by one person. One person they're trying to make you think that they're interested, but really they're not interested that much. They're just trying to give you just enough to keep you on the line. They want to keep your interest and keep you there, but they don't want to commit long term.
Mr. Carpenter. Andre, he put a comment in the chat. He said that, but what if people breadcrumb for survival, like a woman who needs a man to pay her bills for her family? Is it really wrong? He's curious.
Well, he knew the answer when he asked the question, to be honest with you. Yes, it's wrong, Andre. Come on, Andre. You knew the answer when you asked the question.
Right. That means she need to go out there and get a job. She'll use no man for that.
But this is a great place to ask that question. But it's an excellent question, Andre. It's an excellent question. She's breadcrumbing for her survival. Yes, and she knows what she has to do. The problem on the other end is the victim feel like they're getting, I'm not going to say their money's worth, because that would be the wrong way to answer that. Or they feel they're getting return on their investment, or they figure they're getting value for their investment. That's the way you gotta look at that. If the person on the other end feels they're getting value for their investment or return on their investment, then hey, it works for everybody. There's an actual song. There's an old Southern soul song that's saying, you know, you getting what you want, and I'm getting what I want. Everybody's happy because you realize relationships. There's a song out, and I wish I had the title of it right now, but there's a song out that you're getting what you want, and I'm getting what I want, and everybody's happy. So there's
but you're both wrong.
Exchange, huh?
But you're both wrong.
It all depends how you look at it now. It's what you're wrong and
my wrong in my eyes is wrong because you're using the person for personal gain.
Well, let's
well, I'm with Rufus on that one. So I mean, I have to agree. It may not be right, but you know, it happens. It happens a lot.
Yes.
You know.
Well, I agree with Glenda on that one. This world is upside down. They call everything wrong right and everything wrong. They making that like it's right. So the bottom line to that is my opinion, just mine.
Right.
That it is wrong because both of you are using one another.
Right.
Okay, you get there. Please understand, this is a fallen world, and we're only visitors. If you're a Christian, some people think that we're traveling through. We're only visitors here. But now you got to realize something. There's something called supply and demand.
Really?
Yes, I do understand that.
Really?
I understand supply.
I do want to put a
look at some long-term basis.
Guys, well, time out, everybody. One at a time, because we want to hear everybody's thought. We want to give everybody a chance to chime in.
They just cut me off.
Who was first? Who was talking? Identify yourself and who like to be first.
Do you hear me?
Okay,
I can hear someone talking.
All right, Annette first, and then we'll bring on, I think, had you finished, Angela? Had you finished what you were saying?
I finished.
Okay, so Annette, go ahead, Annette.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, cool. I don't tell mine say mute or on mute. I don't know if I'm talking to you guys or not. But anyway, I have done this breadcrumbing thing, and I didn't know that was what you called it. But I did it to the point where I knew all along that I wasn't going to take the relationship where the guy thought it was going. However, I knew with this breadcrumbing idea that I had in my mind, I was getting everything I wanted from him, and he was getting nothing of what he thought he was going to get from me, until the point where I got quite a lot of something from him, and he was just saying, now, wait a minute. It became almost explosive to the point where he wanted to almost be violent. So then at that moment, I knew, hold up, I had to let him know, wait a minute, this is just not going there. So I think that breadcrumbing relationship can lead to, I know it can lead to violence.
And I'm glad you had that to share. Thanks for sharing that. And that was deep. Thanks you for sharing that. Because as we go further in this, you'll see where a person, anytime a person feel like they're being used and abused, and they don't have the necessary skills to explain the way out or to bring some type of successful conclusion, that happens. And that's one reason why we picked this subject tonight, to bring breadcrumbing out, because a lot of us are not aware of what breadcrumbing is and the effect, the psychological effect it has on people. So this is one reason why I wanted us to really get into this and get merged and delve deep into this subject, because a lot of us are doing things that we're not even aware of innocently. Now, Annette said her person, she knew what she was doing, but some of us do it innocently, or some of us on the other end, and we're being breadcrumb. And then when we wake up one day and say, what in the, and then how do you get it? Do you bow gracefully, or do you that conflict resolution and you say, hey, or do you, get a baseball bat? That's, so we want to nip that in the bud right now. So, okay, you had a comment. Go ahead, Angela.
You bow out gracefully and you go and visit your good friend Kim. Keep it moving. You realize your mistake and what you do, and you just keep it moving. You don't have to become low like the other person that was using you. You just bow out gracefully and ask God for better directions next time in your choice selection, or wait on him. Awesome. But you bow out gracefully and you go visit Kim.
Awesome. And she says something right, because nobody can do no more to you than you let them.
That's
Because
what you allow.
True.
up to this point, we've talked about boundaries, we've talked about self-love, we talked about discipline and relationship. We had all these conversations up to now, led us up to the night. So I thought we had enough ammunition in our quiver, or in our storehouse, or in our toolbox, that we could deal with this. And this is like a check in the system right now. Where are we? Do we have enough ammunition to combat this? Felicia, go on. Felicia, add more to your point when you said how it has happened innocently. Explain that a little bit more, because a lot of times people don't really set out to hurt you or take advantage of you. It's just that that's the way it rolls. Explain that more, Felicia.
I mean, you don't necessarily know until you're in the situation to meet somebody. I mean, I've been and made decisions with someone that I dated, for almost really 4 years, but really for someone that I was dealing with, and and during the period of COVID, and it wasn't really necessarily a physical thing, but it took me, it was going through a period where I was dealing with, of course, loneliness. And so I fell into that trap of finding someone that was, very attractive, that I thought. But he really didn't bring nothing to the table but companionship. And so, but then it was always done at my expense, at my house, never at his place. Not that he was seeing anyone else, but it was just never at his place, for whatever that reason was. As if I think the term was, he initially said to me that he was vetting me. And so I'm like, okay, well, no, you ain't vetting me, because I don't need to be vetted. And so that was the situation. But that went on for almost 3 years before I decided that, and I still have a conversation. We still have conversations, but it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go nowhere. It's not a commitment. It's not, I don't even really consider it a friendship, but I like the conversation, because when you don't have, this is just me, when you don't have like you were saying, the pot's not big out there for women. So it's like, so I didn't really have anyone really just, calling me and in my life at the time. And so that was giving me what I needed to get through what I was going through. And that was the loneliness. It may not make sense to anybody, but that's just what it was, and then it became physical, but it still wasn't a fair side. So it was more like, he was getting what he wanted, but I wasn't getting what I wanted. And I was looking for a commitment, and that wasn't where he was at. If that makes any sense.
And you leave him right in that. You leave him right where he is.
Go ahead, Angela. So we can hear you.
I was saying, and you leave him right where he is. If you want to talk, you talk. But that's the extent of it. Because he now have to deal with knowing what he had.
Yeah.
Right.
And move forward. You know what? She really was all this. He'll get a chance to put it all in perspective.
After the fact.
Don't look back. Don't look back. Keep moving forward.
There's some people you just need
to the right one. That's right. Everybody ain't going where you're going. Some of them grow up real late. And when I say late, real late.
Let's circle back to Andre's comment when we said breadcrumbing for survival. Let's go back to that a little bit more, because the more I think about that may have a little deeper indication than what we initially gave it. When a person breadcrumb because that's their survival, and they know that they really don't have no intention to they don't have intention to have a deeper connection, but they want a connection because they're getting their needs met. So they're doing it for survival. If the person, my thoughts are, and this is just my thoughts, so bear with me, and ladies and gents, I want you to comment on that. If the other person is aware, because sometimes the other person is aware, they know that I'm gonna say it churchy like, they know that they can be a blessing to this other person. Because a lot of times when you're in a situation like that, and you're helping a person, it it don't take a rocket scientist to know that you're actually giving out to the other side more than maybe you should have or should be, but you're helping someone. So share. You care to share? Glenda, you first, Glenda. You gave them eyes. I know you come. I know you
I know
want
you're
to
gonna always get those. In my opinion, I know that I used to date a guy and he was always having trouble with his bills, like household bills, his his livelihood bills. And for a while I said, well, why don't you get a second job? He said, I don't even want to work the first job, let alone. I said, oh. I said, okay. But and after a while, it was like, you always need help with your rent. I wasn't paying nobody rent because nobody was paying my mortgage and I ain't had the extra funds. But, you think about it, you need help with your light bill every month. I mean, what are you doing with your money? And come to find out, he would spend a lot of his money that he earned from his contracting jobs. He was spending it on electronics and eating out because he didn't like to cook. I said, well, maybe you need to change up some of the stuff that you're doing, like, buy lunch meat and bread so you can eat during the week, or, go buy a pack of chicken and bake it and you'll have baked chicken for a couple of days. However, but you spend, $30 to $40 a day eating out, it starts to add up. So I tried to give him suggestions, but every month it was always, he was falling short with paying his bills. And I was like, no, after a while, you're like, I'll help you. Like, if you hungry, I'll give you a gift card with the Wendy's. I'll go get you something to eat, but I can't be paying your bills because nobody is paying mine. And I was taught, you got to go out there and work for yours. But at the same time, too, it was like he always needed, he always had a problem paying his bills, and he was always looking to someone. And then as we continued dating, I found out the girls prior and the wives prior to me, I was like, they were supporting him. I was like, oh, so that's how you've been getting by all this time. And the only time he really had to man up was when he wasn't able to pay his child support and they suspended his license. Then he had to go find another job or do side hustles to try to make the money, because now it started to affect him as far as driving, getting to and fro to one job he didn't want to have. So it's like, with these men nowadays, I've only seen it with that particular man. I have strayed away from two, needy men throughout my years since that one incident. But he always he think that men, I've noticed, like, especially with him, he always went after women that felt vulnerable and needy or felt unattractive, and thought that he could manipulate them into getting what he wanted out of them. But, I told him, no, you met the wrong one. I said, my mom and daddy taught me a little bit better, because I noticed some of the signs that he had from when I was married. And he was a very sneaky and educated individual. He would tap into my computer, steal my credit cards. He would do all types of stuff just to survive himself. Because if I wouldn't give it to him, or we had a discussion, or I made suggestions to him on how he could, get around this hump this month, he would try to do stuff to hurt me. And I'm like, what in the world? I wasn't used to that. And he was like maybe the second relationship that I was in from moving from Virginia to Georgia. So it was like, what kind of men is in this state? These men are very vindictive and conniving. But, after a while, the relationship did end, but he wanted to use me for his own personal gain to try to get what he wanted. Like, the pay. He even suggested that we move in together and I buy him a house. I said, oh. Oh,
okay,
no,
Glenn, I think we got it on that one, because you were fishing in the wrong pond. You should have threw that one back. The first.
Well, he did get thrown back, but I was speaking my truth. That's the BS that I was dealing with. And it was just amazing, because that was like the second relationship from Virginia. And I was like, what kind of state have?
I'm glad you raised your vibration and you came up a little bit. So that's awesome. Anyone else want to comment about this part before we move on? Because I want to make sure that we answer that for Andre, because Andre even said that those type of relationships can get toxic very fast, and he's right. And he's right.
Yes, I have a comment.
Go ahead, Angela.
I think my thing is, as the conversation has gone on, you have to enter into a relationship treating the person the way that you want to be treated, and you make sure that he knows that as well. Because if you ain't coming like that, it's just a matter of time. The signs will be seen, and you will be just left out there to yourself. You're not going to survive off of me.
Right.
And I don't consider it necessary. I know you said a blessing, but that's a user spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, you may be on hard times, but you're going to be level and you're going to talk about it, because the worst thing that anybody can do to me, and that's just my rifle looking at you. If I feel used or become used by an individual, that's it.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
And that's
so. In other words, treat people like you want to be treated, because that's an awful feeling to me. Usury.
Correct. And that goes back to our knowing your boundaries. And once again, not only do you have boundaries for other people, but you have boundaries for yourself. There's things that you will not take. So remember your own boundaries. Let's move a little further. Let's look at the different from breadcrumbing from other relationship manipulation, because we had talked about this a little earlier, but let's talk about this right now, because breadcrumbing is different from gaslighting and from ghosting. Now, ghosting, we said against, is when a person becomes silent. You don't hear anything from them. It may be a day or a couple of days or a week or whatever, and then they surface back, hey, how you doing? Like nothing happened. That's ghosting. And gaslighting is when someone in a relationship try to make you feel like you're stupid or make you feel like you doubt your own reality. It's when they're making you feel like, oh man, maybe it's me. The problem is not them, the problem is me. When they have you judging your own self, they fake you out within your own self. And that's more like gaslighting. But this is not what breadcrumbing is. Breadcrumbing is a person keeping you dangling with intermittent attention. And our example is that they make you feel like you're hooked. They give you breadcrumbs, but you don't get the whole meal, that you're missing the pie. You get the crumbs, but you don't actually get the pie. You go in looking that you're going to have a great relationship with someone that's going to be deep and profound. Really, you never, ever get to see that person long term. Yeah. Say something. Hey, Sheila, how you doing? You want to say something, Sheila?
No, I'm just listening. I'm just in the middle of it right now.
Awesome. Okay, because your mic lit up now. I want hey, Ramon,
I'm sorry.
Hey, Ramon, how you doing? Glad to see you there. Okay, now this is that. Now, also, I had this conversation this week about somebody else we're talking about breadcrumbing, and they gave me, there's another manipulating spirit out there, as Angela might say, a spirit. But this wasn't from Angela. I was talking to someone else, and they told me, and they say there's another one. They say it's a thing going on in the Black community now where people are inviting you, are trying to convince you that you should go into swinging. And I thought that went out with the 60s and 70s.
Wait a minute, hold up. Are we talking about the same kind of swinging?
Yep, the same kind of swinging. And where in this, they were talking about a subject where a husband convinced his wife to say, let's go do this. And he manipulated her to say, let's go do this. And they did it. And she got tired. She said, this ain't what I want. Hey, husband, this ain't what I want. This ain't us. Let's drop this. And he kept pressing, say, come on, hey, we want to do this. And they continued. And then eventually they divorced because she that wasn't her spirit. That was his spirit. So this is not that. This is not that. But that's another.
You opened up a totally different can of words.
Right. But I told the person I'll bring that up so we could say that, because I didn't realize the Black community did that. So that shocked me.
You'd be surprised.
Came up.
You'd be surprised. I said you'd be surprised. I've heard of a couple. I had a friend that was invited to join in, but she didn't jump on the invitation.
Well, I know some folks, they call it a throuple. So it's a married couple, and they have another person that they invite to be in the home. And so this couple actually married the third person, even though it's not legally, but they got married on a cruise, but they call it a throuple. So where the one man has basically he has two wives, but I think the wife I think the wife is bisexual. So, but they call it a throuple, and they've been doing that now for at least 10 years.
And
Wow.
That's some Sodom and Gomorrah stuff.
yeah, and this
Crazy
shocked
mess.
me when the person
But if
told me
you
this.
accept that, it'll take you all the way there.
Yeah, it shocked the heck out of me when I had heard that, and I said, "Well, I'll bring it up." But I said, "I don't know how to tackle that subject. That's something beyond my training." But Andre, what did you say in the chat, Andre? Explain your chat, if you don't mind. I mean, explain
Are
what
you
you put.
referring to the financially lucrative one?
Yes. Well, whichever one the last chat you did a few minutes ago.
What I was saying was that with those swinging parties, they seem to be pretty lucrative from what I'm seeing in a lot of these major cities, because you have married couples, especially these executives who cannot do the things that they would want to do, but yet they can go to like a private party with other executives and they pay for these big rooms or these big warehouses, and that's what they do for a living. And it's pretty popular, especially in a lot of your other countries.
Yeah, you're enlightening me on that. So I just wanted to bring that up. I met my commitment that I would bring that up. So I brought that up. Now we move on. Unless someone else got something to say before we move out of that subject. So we're gonna move on if nobody else have anything to say. Okay.
I don't get down like that.
Okay. The next topic we have the psychological impact of breadcrumbing on its victims. The psychological impact of breadcrumbing on its victims. Okay, now anytime you manipulate it, you get self-doubt. You're saying, how did I fall into that trap? How did I? I should have known better. You know, you begin to question your own logic, your own self. Go ahead, Glenda.
I think I know one particular person. They got angry before that self-doubt kicked in. They got more so angry with the other person and then themselves for lending the individual that big sum of money. So they were angry first. They wanted to really do some bodily harm.
Okay, so that's one. One side effect is the anger, feeling like, oh man, how could this happen to me? They ain't gonna get away with this. Oh no. And then you're right, I can understand that. As a matter of fact, we have an illustrated example. Imagine waiting for days for someone to reply to your message. And you're waiting, like Glenn said, you lent this person money or this person used you for a lot of money and entertainment or whatever. And you're waiting for the message. And all of a sudden, the third or fourth day, they send you a hey. And you're excited because you got a message, a text from them, but all they said was hey. And you saying, what in the, these are the type of things that happen when the breadcrumbing. You're just so in love or so attached or so wanting something from this person more than they're giving you, and you're hanging on a thread, and then when they come through, they're not really coming through. They're a pass by. So you're saying, wait a minute, did this just happen? And then some people, oh no, they didn't. How you do that? So those are that's the psychological part of breadcrumbing on the victim. The victim side, the victim feel used, feel worthless, feel doubted, or I'm ugly, or I'm not enough, or you get all these things you're saying to yourself when the person is doing the breadcrumbing, they get an ego, they got a big head. Yeah, I got me another one. I got this. Yeah, I got them just hanging. Hey, that fine thing or that handsome fellow, hey, they all mine. You see the both sides of the coin here? Anybody want to comment on that?
But that's a temporary feeling, because even for the guy that came up, by using the girl, it don't last long, because once the light bulb goes off for her, you not only lost the benefits of being with her, you lost all your perks and benefits. You lost everything.
But normally the breadcrumber have 2 or 3. So cut that tie and move on. Like going fishing, you got a whole bunch of lines in the water.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's possibly true, but at the same time too, karma is a mother. I know that for sure. Because what goes around, comes back around. And when it comes back, it's going to slap you right dead in your face.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. Anything on the part about the understanding breadcrumbing before we go into the next session? Any last comments about this section? Anybody want to bring a comment before we go into identifying breadcrumbing behavior?
No,
right,
you can go ahead.
All right, Glenda, you want me to bring that one out?
Yeah, please.
Okay, let's talk about some of the signs of breadcrumbing. What are some of the signs of breadcrumbing?
Someone always asking for money.
Okay, always ask for money. Inconsistent communication, vague plans, repeat cancellation. You can never count on them, or never get them tied down to any one thing. Their actions and words don't line up.
Right.
If these things are happening in your relationship, you might be in a breadcrumbing situation. If you can never get a straight answer from your partner or your significant other, or however you boo, whatever you call it is, whether it's a he or she, you may be in a breadcrumbing situation. If it's never clear what y'all gonna do, when you're gonna do, or how you're gonna do, you may be in a breadcrumbing situation.
Or if they always want to be with, they want to always come to your house, or you're always the one initiating the dates and the date nights and, the plans that y'all may have. That means the other person most of the time is looking forward to you paying for, covering all of the expenses.
Go ahead, Angela.
Oh, I didn't say a thing.
Oh, your light lit up. I thought you were talking. Okay.
Oh, it must have picked up from my face. It must have picked.
You making that kind of expression.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. If anybody been a victim of breadcrumbing, that if some of these things have fit and they wonder what was going on?
Yeah.
Of course. I mean,
Ramona, you on the line. Can you share something about this? Have you ever seen any signs of these? What are your thoughts about tonight's topic? And the reason why I say that, because you have a lot of wisdom to share.
All right, so I'm going to tell you all a true story. And it wasn't a manipulative type of situation. It was just more of me believing that, something would change. So I actually dated briefly a NFL football player. And so one of the responsibilities I had was to check his bank account and make sure, like, when he traveled, it wasn't like he got charged, twice for something, that kind of thing, sort of looking for anything that could have been, deceptive, when you have a little money, people will do things. So, I knew what was there, what the budget was every month and all this. It was retired. And so he had a business, and he made a business decision from his business. It really wasn't a bad business decision. It was just that the person took advantage of him. So it caused a financial decline. So there were things that I did in the midst of, the contracts coming through. And things never got back to where they were. And so it was just at one point where I just had to discontinue my services and discontinue the relationship, because now I was into, how can I say, trying to keep up his reputation. And so then it no longer became about our relationship. So it wasn't a manipulative, like someone was trying to trick me or fool me. This was open. This was, this is what's going on. I just need, this or that to be taken care of temporarily until things, get to a certain certain point. So I don't know if that would necessarily fall into your category, because it sounds more like we're talking about people purposely being manipulative and controlling. But you still could find yourself in a situation, like that, even if the person may not have bad intentions.
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's what I was saying. Because when I first studied about breadcrumbing and learned it, I realized I was guilty of doing that in a few relationships, because I didn't realize that was what I was doing. I thought that for me, that was normal operation of me. I thought that was, if, like you say, the first one or two stages of relationship. But after I realized it and I understood my intentions in it, I said, wow, I was guilty of breadcrumbing. And I didn't mean it. I wasn't trying to use or hurt anybody, but that's just the way it was. So those type of things happen. But this is one reason why we did breadcrumbing at night, because we want to make you aware. Because if you become aware, then you notice these things, you can cut them off, or you can address them, or you can say, hey, we're going to do this, but here's how we're going to do it, where both people benefit, not just one. It's not a one-sided thing. So thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Anyone else got any things they want to share about breadcrumbing, about some of their behavior? Okay, no more. Okay, good. And that's good. So I think we've got that, recognizing breadcrumbing. If it's a one-sided part and you feel like you're being used or abused, or you feel like you're being taken somewhere that you really don't want to go, and you keep noticing it, but you don't want to address it, this is when your community red flag comes up. And this is a red flag that you need to wave and say, hey, time out. Let's talk about this. And that clear understanding, it is good for both of you guys, because if it's somebody breadcrumbing you and you raise the red flags and hold it, let's address this, and they stop, and you decide to break and go your ways, or you decide to renegotiate the relationship or renegotiate the partnership.
Right.
And that's something you need to do. And this is healthy. It's very healthy. It's very healthy. Okay. All right. We got that. Now let's talk about examples of mixed signals and inconsistent communication. All right. Now, what does that look like? Okay. A person sends you a sweet message. Man, girl, you the bomb diggity. Oh, I wish we could blah, blah, blah. And you just don't know. Next time I see you, we just going to have the time of our life. Big Papa coming through. That could be something they send, and then they don't talk to you for about 3 weeks go by before they talk to you again. You get a text like that or a conversation like that, you're going to see this joker tomorrow. But yet 3 weeks go by, and then he come like, oh, girl, I was coming through, but dang, my car just wouldn't start, or whatever. Whatever. Have anybody ever had that happen to them before?
No.
Nobody?
No.
I'm just speaking for myself. No.
No.
That never happened?
Has it
No.
happened to you, Mr. Carlton?
I ain't gonna say.
You're gonna tell all your business tonight.
Yeah.
Or did you do that to somebody?
Well, I won't tell that neither. I ain't telling that neither. Let's say this: circumstances do happen. Let's say it that way. But that's mixed. That's a sample of mixed signals. And our example we have in the text, it says they call you, say good morning, a sweet good morning, but nothing happens for the day. If they call you early mornings, hey, it's sweet morning, and they make you think that you're gonna see them sometime that day, or y'all gonna have a firm date that night, and the person don't show, or the person ghosts on you. And that's what we have as our example for the night for that mixed signals. Any questions about mixed signals? Because that one's pretty self-explanatory.
Pretty much, but no. Not
okay. Now, I'm supposed to ask you this at this time. Are there any ladies that have experienced breadcrumbing in our audience? Are any ladies in our audience that have experienced breadcrumbing on their part? Or have you heard of any experiences of breadcrumbing? Or do you have any suggestions how to help somebody in a situation of breadcrumbing? This is my interactive part of the conversation I'm supposed to ask you, because we're right at that 49-minute part, and we want to make sure that everybody have a chance to talk. I think one time Mala was on the line, and one time I think she was going to say something. We cut her off one time. Mala, did you want to say something about the subject? Because I think we cut you off earlier in the conversation.
Is she still on?
I don't know if she's still on tonight, but I know earlier when everybody was talking, she had chimed in.
No,
And I don't know.
I don't think she's up here.
She may not be there. Dr. Johnson, you ain't said a word all night. Come on, weigh in.
You know, first of all, a person need to acknowledge that they're being breadcrumbing, because you just said, how can you help someone? But if someone don't understand or realize they're being breadcrumbing, they may just think that you interfering or somebody is interfering. So they need to acknowledge that they're being breadcrumbing. Or if you had a conversation, if you know we had a conversation with somebody and they explain what they're going through, then you know that you could say, "Oh, that sounds like you're being breadcrumb."
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it would helping someone is how you go about helping them, because they first have to acknowledge that they're going through something.
Okay. Awesome, awesome. And that's why we did breadcrumbing tonight, because I know some of us didn't know much about it. But once you get to understand breadcrumbing, it's easy to start seeing, because then you start asking yourself, oh, could this be breadcrumbing? And you'll know right quick, especially if your needs are not getting met.
Right.
If a person come in with a lot of energy towards you and and for some reason it's not matching who that person is in the relationship, and they're not proceeding on. They only give you a lot of lip service or a lot of, well, maybe we're gonna do this, maybe we're gonna do that, but they never happen, and you've been with them for extended time, then you know it's breadcrumbing. I think, ladies, y'all call it wasting time. I think is what y'all call it.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know where you get all these funny names from. Who you been talking to?
That's what
Mr.
y'all call them, wasting time. Y'all call them placeholders. Y'all call, what else y'all call them? Used to be's.
User.
Loser, correct. These
User. User.
These are all the names. But sometimes guys look at it a little different. Some guys look at it like
most of the time they on the receiving end.
Well, not all the time now. Ladies.
I said most.
Majority of the time. The majority of the time. Like 99%.
Yes. Because now, ladies, I think you guys, you guys got a better deal than we do, because you guys make a guy feel like they're special. Like they're the only guy in the world, when really.
Yeah, we lead off too strong. That we do. I know most women, we do make that mistake. We lead off too strong, and that's how, we get taken advantage of most of the time in relationships. And that's probably where the breadcrumbing comes from, because people are like, oh, if she'll do this for me right now, I could imagine what else I can get out of her. So I do get that, but at the same time, I'm a firm believer of karma, and that using tactic or that manipulative thing, it don't fly over with a lot of people. You might end up getting cut, messing with the wrong one.
All right, let's say we're getting into the last 10 or 12 minutes of this subject here. Glenda, you want to do the question? Let's go into the question parts of the night. You want to ask the questions?
Well, let's see.
You want to ask the questions so we can go ahead and wrap this, unless somebody else got something to say.
Well, we don't have that many. We probably won't be able to go over all of them. Is there one particular one you want me to ask, or it doesn't matter?
Just pick one, because
have you ever experienced breadcrumbing in a relationship? How did it make you feel? That's the first one. Okay,
I'll answer that, because I've been breadcrumbed before, and me, when I've been breadcrumbed before, it was exciting at the beginning. It was very exciting, because a beautiful woman, hey man, she's on my arm, and we doing this thing together. So hey, it's all I'm looking at all benefits. And then somewhere down the line, I said, wait, hold up now. That check mark supposed to have been checked. I was supposed to put an X in that box. And we never got to the part where I put an X in the box. So I let it go a little while longer, still didn't get an X in the box. So about the third time around, when that box should have been checked, it wasn't checked. I had to buy out. I had to say,
I
look,
know that's right.
apparently this isn't what I am not who you need in this situation. I'm not the one because I want to kick some ties, as they say. So I had to peace out.
I understand. It started to get costly, didn't it?
Yep, costly and not efficient.
Okay.
All right, next question.
All right. Is it why do you think people engage in breadcrumbing behavior?
All right, somebody else got to take that one. I took the first one. Someone else got to take the other one. Who want to take this one in the audience? That's an audience question. Read the question again, Glenda, so somebody can pick it.
Why do you think people engage in breadcrumbing behavior?
All right, who want to pick that one?
Okay, somebody put something in the chat. Maybe it's
Okay, Andre, explain to Andre, what do you mean by that?
You caught me when I had food in my mouth. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We'll give you a chance to get it out. We ain't going nowhere until 10 o'clock.
But, sometimes, and I'm just saying this from just thinking of a parent. A parent may say to the daughter, nobody's going to give you nothing free. So you got to, get what you get. So you got to use these men to do what you have to do to, especially if you got a young mom, they'll tell their young daughter, do what you got to do. And, think about like if a young lady marries an NFL player, not to throw in the shade to the one earlier, but like if the young woman, mom may say, you better get pregnant by him, get his baby, use him, do what you got to do. To me, that would be breadcrumbing.
Yeah, that's an upper level breadcrumbing.
It really
that's upper level breadcrumbing. And when you said that, Andre, you taught me something that I've heard. I have 5 sisters, but I've heard people say that. I heard women say that, hey, look, I'm not charging anything, but hey, nothing free.
Yeah, I had somebody tell me their mom told their daughter, we ain't selling it, but it's not for free. I said, my parents didn't tell me that.
I heard that term. When you hear that term, what does that mean to you? Audience, what does that term mean when you hear that? We're not selling, but it's not free. What does that mean?
Calling wrong right and right wrong is still prostitution.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, that's a one way
Legal
of looking at it.
Ain't no need of sugarcoating and putting no icing on it, trying to pretend that it's period.
Okay.
Period. And that's what I mean by they want to take everything that's wrong and try to make it right, or just slide it right on in there. Everything goes. No, everything don't go. Because there's going to come in time that every bucket going to have to stand on their own bottom.
Well, I look at it, this is Annette. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. I look at it a little bit differently. I look at it as if to say, you think, I don't know what a man have to go to prepare to be with a woman, but women have to prepare and do a lot to keep themselves together to be with men, or just to be, because everything's expensive and you got a lot of stuff you got to do. And then let's say there was an intimate relationship and now you're in trouble. You got to go to the doctor for whatever your reasons are. It's a whole lot. So when you say we ain't charging, but it's not free, that's just saying, okay, you got to bring something to the table. It's just that you just can't get this girl and think, oh, just because you're beautiful, I just want to just have you. You can have it, but you got to bring something else too. That's my take.
Okay, any more comments on that? And once again, ladies, and gentlemen, this is a forum where you can speak your truth. Nobody's gonna say you said something wrong, or nobody say, oh no, she didn't, or nobody gonna look at you funny, or nobody gonna point fingers or talk bad about you. Because this is a chance for us to actually have a great conversation. We got about 4 men on here tonight. So this is a chance you get to hear both sides of the coin. You get to hear the side of us, Glenn and I, 2 coaches. You get to hear the audience perspective, you hear women's perspective, you hear men's perspective. So this is a great chance for you to ask questions or answer some questions, or just share your comments. All right. Anybody want anything they want to share about this part before Glenn go into another question?
You see the time, sir?
Oh, I can't even see the time. I didn't move my time
It's
out.
9:59. If
Okay,
we
oh,
ask one more
9:59.
question, it's gonna be 10:15.
Okay, all right, then let's go ahead. You want to end this out tonight, Glenda? Since I always
Well,
end
I
it.
do thank everyone for joining us tonight. The top, oh, wait a minute, who is that? You know what? I can't even complain. Gigi wants to have a part 2.
Yes.
You know what? I like to honor requests because I'm an easy kind of, I'm easygoing type of coach. So we're gonna have to do a part 2 for next week, Mr. Carpenter. So please make a note of that. But I do want to thank everyone for coming in tonight, showing up and talking and speaking your truth and sharing all your feedback. As always, if you missed us tonight or you want to refer a friend, always go to our YouTube channel, check us out. And if there's no other comments or feedback, I'd like to go ahead, Mr. Carpenter.
Okay, one thing I forgot to tell you. Our goal is to go national in July. The month of July, our goal is to go national, where we're going to go ahead and go national. And when we go national, I won't be sending out any more post notices. You'll have to go through and get it through. I think we'll say that next week. We'll have next week how you're going to get the notices about the upcoming week. But it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same link. So the link that you got on tonight is going to be the same link. But we're gonna come up with the website because Glenda's relationship coaching program comes online in July. Glenda's company is called Glenda's Get It and Go Incorporated, and she's gonna have everything coming up live in the month of July. So we got some unique things coming out for you. You guys are gonna be shocked of all the things. And she's got to tell you, when you go on our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like and subscribe when you go on the YouTube channel, because that's something that we're trying to get that YouTube thing up also. So make sure you like and subscribe. It's been fun. Guys, you are some of the best audience in the world. We really appreciate you showing up, and you do a bang up job. So thank you a lot for your comments tonight. Good night. See everybody next Saturday.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.